Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
Talk Today also brought to you with the kind compliments of Mike's Builders.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk Today.
What's on your mind, Cayman? If you're ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Discussing current events and local news, community spotlights, hot topics, listener stories, cultural and historical discussions, environmental issues, fun and lighthearted topics, guest interviews. Cayman, basically anything you want to talk about, we are ready to listen. Here's your guest host, Orrett Conner.
Good afternoon and welcome to Talk Today. I'm your guest host, Orrett Conner, and my question to you this afternoon is, are you planning on camping during the Easter or using any of the public facilities, public beaches as well? If you are, there are some cautions and some advice given to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Let's talk about that as soon as we return. Please stay tuned. Talk Today will be back shortly.
Talk Today is reminding you
to avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037. Or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
And now, back to Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome to Talk Today. What are your plans for the Easter holiday coming up next week? Next Friday will be Good Friday. And then, of course, we celebrate Easter Monday as well. We know that there are some jurisdictions who don't necessarily celebrate Easter Monday, but we do it here in the Cayman Islands, just like when we celebrate Boxing Day, British tradition, United States. That is anathema to them. They don't know anything about Boxing Day. They don't celebrate it at all. So, what are your plans? If your plans are to camp or to use the public beaches this Easter, which is a welcome tradition with shared responsibilities. So you're welcome to use the beach, but there are responsibilities that go with that, and those responsibilities must be shared. So the Ministry of District Administration and Lands have issued, this was done yesterday, camping on public beaches this Easter, a welcome tradition with shared responsibilities. As Easter approaches, the Ministry of District Administration and Lands, together with the Public Lands Commission, they take the opportunity to remind the public that camping on public beaches I did mention Boxing Day, but in a different context, So the Ministry of District Administration and Lands, together with the Public Lands Commission, remind the public that camping on public beaches is welcome during the designated periods set out in the Public Lands Regulation 2021. The annual practice offers a meaningful opportunity for families and friends to enjoy Cayman's natural spaces. Residents do not require a permit, so you do not require a permit to camp during specific holiday periods. Campers are encouraged to take personal responsibility by keeping sites clean and being respectful of others using the beach. Camping is a meaningful Caymanian tradition, especially during Easter, said Acting Chief Officer Mr. Wilbur Welcome. Goes on to say that we are proud to support this custom through thoughtful regulation and public stewardship. We simply ask everyone to show courtesy to the land and to each other so that these spaces remain welcome for all. Acting Deputy Chief Inspector of the Public Lands Commission, Juliet Smith, added, "Our goal is to ensure that everyone can enjoy the beaches safely and responsibly. That means respecting the rules, keeping the areas clean, and being considerate of fellow campers and beach users. Together, we can make this a positive experience for everyone." Campers, you are reminded that sites operate on a first-come, first-served basis, and cabanas are not to be used for camping purposes. And I would imagine that people are starting to already stake out their place on the beaches, Smith's Back-A-Dare, Barefoot Beach on Queens Highway, Collier's Beach as well, Ivory Point, or some know it as Starfish Point as well. I'm not sure what's happening with the public park in Caibo, whether or not that will be available, but there's so many sites. Grand Cayman, not familiar with Cayman Brac, so I'm not sure about those, but anyone who's familiar with camping in Cayman Brac, let us know what the favorite camping spots are there as well. Goes on to say that pets are allowed, but owners must ensure animals are kept under control and not permitted to chase wildlife or disturb others. Wildlife should only be observed from a distance, and feeding animals such as chickens is strongly discouraged. Campers must leave all sites tidy and free of garbage throughout their stay and after packing up. Those wishing to camp on private land must first obtain permission from the landowner. Camping on private land without permission is considered trespassing. So don't be bold out there and say, I'm going to camp anywhere. If it's private property, then you are trespassing if you enter or use that property without the owner's permission. A number of activities on public land requires a permit. They also advise from the Public Lands Commission, including camping outside of the designated time periods. So if you camping outside of the designated time period during Easter, then you need a permit. You also need a permit for bonfires. You need a permit for horse riding. You need a permit for vending. You need a permit for erecting temporary structures. You need a permit to be able to dock boats overnight and driving off-road vehicles. Bonfires, in particular, may only be lit with a permit. The application fee for a bonfire or open fire permit is $50. Not a whole lot of money. Failure to comply with this requirement may result in a fine of up to $1,000. Similarly, non-resident campers must apply for a camping permit, which includes a non-refundable application fee of $50 and a permit fee of $200 per tent if granted. So campers, again, reminded of the following expectations and requirements. Keep noise and amplified music at respectful levels. Leave the site clean and free of litter before leaving. Bonfires require a permit, like we said before. Barbecuing is allowed in designated pits or portable stoves. Fires must never be left unattended and must be fully extinguished before leaving. Pets must be kept under control at all times. Avoid damage to natural features, vegetation, or facilities. Respect others using the beach and follow any posted signs or advisory. And while the Public Lands Commission is charged with the management of public lands, I am sure that they would also take the opportunity to remind people, families in particular, to keep their eyes on the young ones. Keep, especially being near the water, be vigilant. Because as you know, those youngsters, one minute they're in front of you and the next minute they have disappeared, as well. So please, folks out there, ensure that you keep your eyes, pay attention to the youngsters out there. And no doubt there will be other reminders and bulletins in relation to boats, vessels being used during Easter, as well. Of course, there are standard operating procedures for vessels. I'm sure that the Coast Guard will be out there as well. No doubt, the Department of Environmental Health, they will probably provide extra services during that period. Also, I know in the mornings, Sunday mornings when we were riding, or during the week, the Easter holiday, not unusual to see them in the Ivory Point, also known as Starfish Point area. I believe that is still owned, area there is still owned by the DART Corporation. But in the past, I can't say what's happening this time around, but up until last Easter, they allowed the public to use that area, even provided certain amenities there for them to use to ensure that they kept the beach clean as well. It is a Caymanian tradition, but we see more and more people also enjoying that Caymanian tradition. Folks, please keep it safe, keep it enjoyable as well. We have a caller. We're going to take the caller as soon as we take a commercial break. Please stay tuned. Talk Today will be back shortly.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Easter vacation is just around the corner, and Cayman Airways has added multiple extra flights to some of your favorite destinations, some of mine too. Look here, they got seats available now for booking on extra Easter flights between Grand Cayman and Kingston, La Ceiba, Miami, Cayman Brac, Little Cayman, and you can even catch a non-stop flight to Montego Bay for Easter. Check it out. You can visit CaymanAirways.com, contact a local travel agent, or call Cayman Airways Reservations on 949-2311. And don't wait too long though, because these extra Easter seats always sell fast. Be sure to add your Sir Turtle Rewards number to your booking so you can earn more miles for more free trips this year. Well, I know where I'm going. I'll see you on board a uniquely Caymanian airline for Easter.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Looking to transform your space? From custom homes to commercial spaces, we bring your vision to life with precision, quality, and elegance. At Mike's Builders, we make it happen.
Mike's Builders turned my dream home into a reality. Their team is professional, efficient, and truly the best in the business. Good communication? Check. Cleanliness? Check. Professionalism? On point. You have to try Mike's Builders for yourself.
Call us today at 923-0706. That's 923-0706. Mike's Builders. Let's build a beautiful world together.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
The Passport and Corporate Services Office is advising the public that it will close early on Friday, the 11th of April at 2 p.m. to facilitate a staff function. The office will resume normal business on Monday, the 14th of April at 9 a.m. For more information, contact 345-649-7678 or email passport, the and signed icon, corporate @gov.ky.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Good afternoon and welcome to Talk Today. We have a caller on hold. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome.
Hey, good afternoon, OC. Dominic Ebanks here.
Good afternoon, Dominic. How are you?
Hey, any better? I couldn't stand it at all. Looking forward to the nice long weekend followed by that special public holiday coming in the month, you know.
Yeah.
Certainly in a safe one. Certainly appreciated you, reminding people about, being safe as much as possible, especially around the water, not only for young children, but I'm quite sure we got a lot of people here on the island that are not the best of swimmers, but, when it comes to water, you don't have to be a good swimmer to fall victim. OC, I just wanted to quickly call regarding some of the stuff that we have coming up, obviously. We're about 2+ weeks away, here, give and take, from our general election.
Mm-hmm.
And, we have a lot of topics that need to be dealt with. And, of course, we can sit here and talk about the port. We can talk about decriminalizing marijuana or national lottery. But really, immigration reform should be really at the top of the list. All of those are affected by that one thing, cost of living, everything. If you don't have it, it might cost you more. If you have it, it might still cost you more. But I just wanted to, talk about that a bit because in the sense of our immigration system, obviously there are two sides to it. We got our work permit side that we're giving out, and obviously then there's our PR and Cayman status. Some people are saying, you need to cut back on these work permits, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't really see necessarily the work permit as the problem itself so much as it is giving out Cayman statuses, right?
Okay.
While you're on a work permit, you can be controlled, you can be rolled over. But when we make you one of us, that is it, right? You want to roll over, you're doing after that is in the same bed. That's it. So, when I hear them, they're talking about, cutting back on work permits, we don't know. We got a hotel opening up shortly, the Grand Hyatt, for example. If we are already short of labor, that tells us we got to be bringing in more people to accommodate that hotel and then the next one and so forth. And with those hotels come more people. But really and truly, we have seen the demise of the Caymanian really fall because we have sort of diluted us. We have made too much of us. Just like printing money. You print too much money, the value goes way down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've let in too many of us, and a lot of, generation Caymanians who have always thought about one day opening a business and all that kind of stuff. We have imported people who have literally took those dreams away from us, right? They've come from places where they've seen this done before, and as they land, they hit the ground running, they know what to do and how to get it done. Where we were in the stages of, thinking about it and procrastinating, etc. But, that is one topic that really needs to be touched on, and I'm hoping to hear more from our wannabe MPs out there regarding not just about work permits. I really don't want to hear too much about work permits. We can stop work permits almost as an immediate thing, but the Caymanian status needs to stop, almost like come to a complete halt right away.
Mm-hmm. Have you looked at the and read the white paper that is was published?
Well, I started taking a look at it, OC. I was going to talk about it a little bit, but I said let me finish it, and next time when I call back, rather than be talking about something that I can read over 2 or 3 times, I like to measure twice and cut once, as they say, right? But again, at the end of the day, rather reading that white paper, obviously, and all those other things, we have to look and see what our problems are, and then, of course, what are the solutions, whether it's one way of the assistant like that. But you come up with a few solutions and you put them down, and of course, if you're somebody who is into analyzing stuff, you obviously put it down and you analyze it, and whether you procrastinate on it or whatever, but at least you're giving it time to think about it, and then you come forward and say, okay, here's the results of this particular problem. But here, I'm hearing politicians, they're just echoing the problem over and over. It's almost like sometimes when I'm listening to these debates, instead of just hearing the solution, I'm almost hearing us repeat the same thing, and it's something that could have been done a long time ago. Hearing people who've been there 4 years or 40 years now saying that they're going to do this and that is certainly a bit discouraging, but it can be done, whether it's from the person that's been there 40 years or the one that's just going to be coming into the arena. But I just wanted to echo that so that those wannabe MPs or those that want to be re-elected, I hear them out there trying to distract us with things about the port and things about decriminalizing marijuana and having a national order. In my mind, those are distractions right now for the main problem. And our main problem is that, you had one election and 2 governments, and they had an opportunity to put a freeze on the Cayman status thing, even no matter what, just freeze it. But nobody has done anything, We've seen bills being tabled, bills being passed, and whether they get drafted and put into law is to come. But, all I'm hearing promises being made right now. Half of those promises have already been tabled at the inside of our parliament. I mean, if you listen back to the PAC government, when they were claiming, say, Mr. McKeever Bush would have no power, he found himself in probably the most powerful position, and then they couldn't form a government without him, just using him for example. And, of course, when I go back and I listen to all of our debates and stuff, I don't think any politician has tabled more bills than that one individual man during the PAC government. And then he did it again after they had the UD, and I'm sure what the current government be sitting on the last letter of that was. But even in there, he was able to to deliver. Whether he is going to deliver on those promises, but he's tabled those promises to those people that have elected him, right? And I would have liked to have seen that from those new politicians that have gotten in there and some of the other ones. But again, I got a whole lot to talk. We'll see, like I said, I just wanted to mention that we have a lot of distractions, but us Caymanians need to remember that our main problem right now is about that Caymanian status. We cannot make any more of us right now unless we're going to be making it through the normal way. We make babies and multiply that way.
Okay. Well, I know you like to read, and so you're going to be looking at the white paper.
Yes.
I would suggest also, and hopefully, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to cover it today, but I want to cover it because that pre-election report that had to that came out the other day, that is required by law, and talking about the financial position of the government of the Cayman Islands. That is something that we had one in 2017.
I think it was around.
And I think at that particular period of time, there was one condition that we hadn't met. It appears as if there's one condition that we haven't met on this occasion, and possibly others later on. While it is room for alarm, it isn't the first time that we have had situations where we haven't met a condition. And if you get an opportunity to also take a read because people talk about it, I'm not sure how many of them are familiar with it, when the United Kingdom in 2013 actually took over the budget of the Cayman Islands, and then Minister Bellingham had to give approval for a letter of assent to the Cayman Islands budget, and then he set out conditions under which that budget would be agreed with the United Kingdom. And some of those conditions on there, there are several as well. So I think when people are talking about this current report, we need to learn the history of it, go back and see what occurred then, because I think people are being intellectually dishonest to a certain extent by letting it appear that this is the first time that it is occurring. And I think they're also spreading fears,
yes,
which will create uncertainty, for people and for investors.
Yes, and on that, OC, because I've been, in talks with it, and obviously, a lot of the budget that we're looking at and talking about us going into a deficit rather than obviously being in a surplus, a lot of it is based on predicament spendings, not on what we've actually blown out of our account, right? And some of these spendings I don't agree with. Now there's probably like a $15 million budget near for the police to hire some expatriate police. Do we want to spend $15 million on important police? Why hasn't the police been able to recruit people? Maybe they need to lower their standards and stuff of the people that they employ, because you get the top dollar anyway, right? And I have the highest respect for police officers. Anytime I'm around them or confronted by them, I show them the utmost respect, no matter what the situation is, right? And at the end of the day, away from that budget, like you say, is very misleading because it has come out at a time, and it's speaking about money that hasn't spent, because we still have our money in our pocket. Hopefully the people that we represent come the end of this month will be able to quickly review that and make the necessary cuts, so that we can take the same white paper and put a big black stamp on it for them to say, here, this is our backside. And it can be done, because in going back to the same representative, let's call him his correct name, Dr. Honorable William McKeever Bush, had this same thing for the last 40 years, fighting the same white paper, gray paper, whatever color they will call it. And others that have come after him has done the same thing too. We continue to fight it, and that's where we stick behind our MPs and our politicians, our premier, and let them know that they have our support. But OC, I thank you for your time. And the Cayman people shouldn't be misled, like you said, by this budget, because that money is still in our bank account at this time.
Thank you very much, folks. We're going to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned. Talk Today. We'll be back shortly.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Subway and Oreo has changed the dessert game. Introducing the Oreo Footlong Cookie, a full 12 inches of chocolatey, creamy goodness. It's big, it's bold, and it's here for a limited time. Perfect for sharing or not. We won't judge. Want it fast? Order ahead with the Subway Cayman Islands app for quick pickup and earn loyalty points. Or get it delivered straight to your door with Bento and Let's Eat. Don't wait. Treat yourself today. The Oreo Footlong Cookie is calling your name. Subway. Eat fresh. Snack sweet.
Easter vacation is just around the corner, and Cayman Airways has added multiple extra flights to some of your favorite destinations, some of mine too. Look here, they got seats available now for booking on extra Easter flights between Grand Cayman and Kingston, La Ceiba, Miami, Cayman Brac, Little Cayman, and you can even catch a non-stop flight to Montego Bay for Easter. Check it out. You can visit CaymanAirways.com, contact a local travel agent, or call Cayman Airways Reservations on 949-2311. And don't wait too long though, because these extra Easter seats always sell fast. Be sure to add your Sir Turtle Rewards number to your booking so you can earn more miles for more free trips this year. Well, I know where I'm going. I'll see you on board our uniquely Caymanian airline for Easter.
For the Health of It, heard on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and repeated on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. is brought to you by The Light Room. Tired of being unwell and struggling to find the energy and vitality to live the life you desire? Come get recharged from the inside out at The Light Room. Our non-invasive, holistic energy enhancement system detoxifies and energizes the body, enabling self-healing and balance. Book online at www.thelightroom.ky or call 938-HEAL, 38 Pasadora Place, GT.
Looking to transform your space? From custom homes to commercial spaces, we bring your vision to life with precision, quality, and elegance. At Mike's Builders, we make it happen.
Mike's Builders turned my dream home into a reality. Their team is professional, efficient, and truly the best in the business. Good communication? Check. Cleanliness? Check. Professionalism? On point. You have to try Mike's Builders for yourself.
Call us today at 923-0706. That's 923-0706. Mike's Builders. Let's build a beautiful world together.
Calling all young voters between the ages of 18 and 35. Are you interested in learning about the key issues facing our country and being a part of the discussions for viable solutions? Then come out and join the Cayman Islands National Party at our Young Voters Social this Thursday, 10th April at the Hive from 6:30 to 9 p.m. for a fun evening of food, edification, and the opportunity to meet the candidates of the CINP. Grab a friend, bring your ideas, and let your voices be heard. This is a paid ad by the Cayman Islands National Party.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. One of our listeners has written in and said that we should remind campers also not to cover up fires and leave the fire alive. They said someone had covered a fire on the beach and a young girl had her foot burnt really badly as a result of that. Yeah, so you should douse the fire with water first, ensure that it is out, and then cover it up. That's what needs to be done in that instance as well. Now I have two choices. Person has written in and said, okay, we'll talk about that one later. The Department of Environmental Health, and we know our elections are on the 30th of April, and May coming up right behind it. Some of you may still, when this date comes around, some of you may still be waiting to see what government we're going to have, because just my views, based on what we're seeing, there's going to have to be some form of coalition, and I'm going to just drop this one. I won't be able to comment on it either, but those of you who watched the leaders' debate last night, it was of course carried live by Radio Cayman as well. We saw, and some of our newspapers have carried it since, two parties gang up against one. And the question is that a precursor of what is likely to happen when the results of the elections are announced and when we see who has been elected? Is that a precursor to what occurred last night? Is that a precursor to what we are to expect after the 30th of April? There will no doubt be horse trading. Whether or not that horse trading will be between the PPM and some other group, or whether or not it will be the other groups doing some trading to form the government as well. But we are not out of the woods yet in terms of what we experienced in the last election. Quite possible we could have the same thing, or it could be worse. I'm not saying that it will be, but there are so many variables especially if either party fails to get a high number of seats, to obtain a high number of seats in our parliament. So, May the 5th to the 10th, there will be the bulk waste pickup will start again. Like I said, we may not have a government at that point in time, but be that as it may, you will have a Department of Environmental Health, and they will start the bulk waste pickup. It will start in West Bay on the 5th, from the 5th of May to the 10th of May for 1 week. It will then proceed to Georgetown from the 12th of May to the 16th of May for 2 weeks. For Bordentown, May 19th to the 23rd, week 3, week 2, week 3, not 3 weeks, week 2, Georgetown, May 12th to 16th, week 3, May 19th to the 23rd, Bordentown, North Side and East End, May 26th to the 31st. And for Cayman Brac, East Side, West 26th to 27th, West Side the 28th to 29th, and South Side May 30th. And in Little Cayman, all locations will be on May 28th. And hopefully by then, we'll have a government. But like I said, if we don't have a government, we will have the Department of Environmental Health, which will be performing their duties as well. Ms. Susan, there may be a call on the WhatsApp number. It's showing up here. Okay. One of our listeners has asked to explain this, and I'll try. So, person wanted to know: will they have photos by the candidates so that older persons won't get confused when they go to vote? Yes. The photos of each candidate will appear alongside their name, somewhere in that area. Also, if there's a party affiliation, the party affiliation will also be indicated that the party logo will be there. Then the person wanted to know, can seniors have someone, a family member, accompany them to the voting booth? Okay. Now, there are two scenarios. If the senior who is going to vote in person can vote on their own, then they go into the voting booth by themselves and vote. So a family member may accompany them, probably no further than the entrance to the polling station. Maybe some flexibility and maybe allow them to go a little further depending on the type of assistance. But no, they won't be able to accompany them into the voting booth. If this senior person, if the older person is unable to vote without assistance, then a friend or a family member may accompany them to the polling station. Inside of the polling station, the person who requires assistance has to take an oath. The person who's there witnessing the proceedings, the friend or family member, has to take an oath as well. And the presiding officer will assist the voter to vote. The presiding officer will follow the instructions of the voter in terms of how the ballot paper is to be marked, or for whom the vote should be marked for, or the referendum, or whatever. It is done by the presiding officer. The reason for the person having to take an oath: one, the person makes an oath that they can't vote by themselves; they need the assistance, and the family member of or the friend takes an oath saying that they will not reveal the candidate for whom the person has voted as well. So it is done by the presiding officer if the person can't vote on their own. If they can't vote on their own, then they go into the voting booth by themselves. Family members or friends can't accompany them there. Ms. Susan is saying we have enough time for a very quick call. 2 minutes only, because we do have guests coming into the studio. Caller, our apologist, sorry, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today.
Good afternoon, OC. 2 minutes. 2 minutes is maybe as much as I'll need, you know.
Okay, if not, after we finish with our guests, we're going to still have a half an hour at 2 o'clock from 2 to 2:30 with the show as well. But go right ahead.
Okay, let me see. Yeah. Well, I watched the debate, by the way. I think all three candidates did quite well, although I don't believe some of the polls which say that one candidate was like got 11%. I think all of them should have been within 10 percentage points. But we know those polls sometimes are influenced by a lot of other things. Now, I mean, I am always interested in the immigration and jobs issue for a number of reasons. One, I just hate injustice. But secondly, also, I mean, I had to go through an experience in Ministry of Portfolio of Legal Affairs where I tried to train a Caymanian, and some status holders told me, no, you can't train this Caymanian. Okay, I have to let you go. I see it's 2 o'clock. I'll call you back after your guests.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Billy. You take care, folks. Please stay tuned.
Bye-bye.
Talk Today. We'll be back shortly.
Information, entertainment, inspiration.
Covering Grand Cayman, Little Cayman, Cayman Brac.
Since 1976 till now.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
I'm April Cummings with your headlines. The Ministry of Tourism and Ports announces the second round of its Visitor Experience Development Grant Program, opening for applications on the 15th of April. This initiative offers funding up to CI $50,000 for local entrepreneurs and small businesses to develop innovative and authentic experiences for visitors. You can find out more at ourcayman.ky. In international headlines, the U.S. Justice Department has moved to drop a criminal case against the alleged East Coast leader of the MS-13 gang less than 2 weeks after he was charged, saying they plan to deport him instead of prosecuting him in the U.S. In an unusual move, his lawyer is now fighting prosecutors' request to immediately dismiss the case, contending that he is in danger of being swiftly deported without due process and sent to an El Salvador prison. Memorials are underway today for a merengue star and others killed when a cement roof collapsed at a popular nightclub in the Dominican Republic, as the number of dead surged to 221 and crews completed their search for bodies. Mourners clad in black and white streamed into Santo Domingo's National Theater, where the body of Ruby Perez lay inside a closed coffin. Perez had been performing on stage at the packed Jet Set Club early Tuesday when dust began falling from the ceiling, and seconds later, the roof caved. Those are your headlines. I'm April Cummings.
Radio Cayman. More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter. Radio Cayman Headline News.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Do you have a healthcare question but not sure who to ask? Contact HSA's Patient Call Center to speak to one of our experienced clinical team members. We are here to answer your questions and help guide you through your healthcare journey. Need to make an appointment? Our team can help. Contact HSA at 949-8600 or email info@hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
In 1965, Cayman Brac Airways, a subsidiary of Alaska Airlines, was operating twice weekly round-trip service flown with a Beech Model 18 twin-prop aircraft on a routing of Grand Cayman, Little Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Montego Bay. According to the airline's 1st of May 1965 timetable, connecting service to Miami via Grand Cayman was offered by Alaska, an airline based in Costa Rica, while additional Cayman Brac Airways connecting service to Miami, as well as to New York City, was offered by Pan Am via Montego Bay. In 1968, the government of the Cayman Islands purchased a controlling interest in Cayman Brac Airways from Alaska and then formed Cayman Airways.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Explore your history, explore your land. Explore your Sister Islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your Sister Islands.
Discover all that our Sister Islands have to offer.
The following is a paid political broadcast. The views, information, or opinions expressed in this forum are solely those of the participants of this event and do not represent the views of the management and staff of Radio Cayman.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. I am your host, Orrett Conner, and it is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this afternoon one of the candidates representing the Cayman Islands National Party in our upcoming April 30th general elections, none other than Mr. Craig Marin, number three on the ballot paper in the upcoming general elections. Mr. Merren, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today.
Well, good afternoon, Mr. Conner, and thank you for having me this afternoon to with your wider audience in the Cayman Islands. And real grateful that you could find the time for me to spend with you today to reach out to my Georgetown West constituency. One of the things I want to publicly state my absence on the chamber on Monday was that I didn't go into the details with the compass of the chamber, but at the last minute in the evening time, I had a family emergency that is very dear to me and that I had to deal with.
Yeah,
it just shows that we are all humans, and I'm no quitter. I've been working on this now over 2 years. You know, I've been in the public domain and always helping with kindness and stuff. And like I said, I'm human like anyone else. And sometimes in life when things happen to a dear one, you really have to do what you have to do. And sometimes that's life when it comes to family, when it comes to your blood. And I know that a lot of my constituencies in the island and those across the island was a little disappointed. I was disappointed as well. But due to that fact, I think most Caymanians would understand those circumstances. And we all face these challenges at time, and part of that with all of us that live here today, we face challenges. I've gone into homes and see the challenges people face. So I am not for one that always asks, oh, why they didn't come, blah, blah. There's always something, but you know, people will judge. Hey, I mean, this is the political season, and you know how people are. But for those that the calls that I've gotten over the last few days, and the warmth and the people that came to see me, I really thank them for that. But one thing I don't want the greater community to know, especially the Georgetown West constituency, that Craig T. Marin have forgotten them. I don't forget people.
And people need to, while becoming a candidate, you have become a public figure, but people need to respect your privacy up to a certain extent as well. And you have given an explanation, and they should accept that explanation without in any way trying to dig deeper into, what it is. It's a, private family member, and that should be sufficient for you. You don't owe anyone any further explanation. Of course, you were here on, during our debate. We're here for our debate as well. So right. Anyone who has any thoughts, that you were, dodging or anything, I think that should relieve any doubt that they have on that.
Well, thank you for that. And yes, and not only that, I've been on the campaign trail. I've been to every meeting. There's one or two negative things that I've had a meeting off of Smith Road, and I was there. That meeting actually took place on the 19th. We have a few pictures with that. So I had to kind of laugh to myself, because one thing I love to get involved. I'm a team player. You know me. My background and discipline is from
cycling. It's not an individual sport. It takes teamwork.
That takes teamwork. It takes discipline. And I love my people. I love the Cayman Islands. I've been represent this country for over 15 years, and as far as I'm concerned, all of us as representatives, when we go overseas, if we walking into any restaurant or mall, and you're saying good morning, good afternoon, to show your Caymanian brought up, as I like to say, is one of the founding respects that others have for Caymanians. That's why people come to these islands to meet the people and their warmth and who we are.
Yeah. Now I know you're not one to beat your own drum to a certain extent, but you're a candidate now. You have to let people. You have to let people know. Some of the things that you, if not all of the things that you have accomplished as well. Just 2 days ago, April 8th. That was the 5th anniversary of the COVID, that the COVID kits landed in the Cayman Islands, and you were instrumental in saving the Cayman Islands government over $7 million by your actions. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, that was the grace of God in believing in, and at the time in Cayman, or the world, where no one didn't know if they gonna live or die. It was a frightening time for the 21st century, over 100 years since a worldwide pandemic had hit the world. And the 21st century in Cayman, we didn't know if your child, your grandmother, your mom or dad, or your beloved friends were gonna wake up. That was one of the acts that I thought, with unselfishness, where I basically, and I must give him credit, Vernico and his cousin Fernando, who lives in Mexico, who actually put us on to seasoned biomaterials. Yes, and I can't believe it's 5 years already. Someone actually sent me that. I think it's popped up on my Facebook page. But yeah, it was actually 500,000 testing kits, but at $22. But we didn't need 5,000. So me and Vernon and Fernando worked at it. We said, let's get around about 200,000. And we still got those kits at $22. And that was a saving over $7 million. And that was a simple phone call, right, to say, and this is how I did it, because I know some Korean, when I went to Korea in 1988 Olympics. Of course, it didn't had nothing to do with that. It just happened to fit right at the right time. And I said, "Harayong which means, hello, how are you?" And the gentleman said the same thing. And the rest was history. And they provide us 200,000 testing kits for Cayman Islands for the same $22 as if you were buying half a million. So that would have, if that was the case, that would have been over $12 million. And I must say that we never did wanted a penny. I didn't make a penny off of that. It wasn't my intention. It was never my intention. Money don't drive me. It's not about that. It's for love for humanity.
Because we know a lot of people made money off of the COVID-19 situation. Through family, friends, or whatever. Lots of politicians, we see it now surfacing in the United Kingdom, as well, in terms of how many friends and family members of politicians benefited.
Yes, and you would be surprised. I'm not going to go into it, but the amount of people that called me, especially me, on that day for a few days, asking for the information and stuff, wanted to call the company because they don't not only the testing kits that they provide, they also provide other medical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, gentleman that answered the phone, me and him still friends today.
Okay.
And he remembered the Seoul Olympics. He said he was a kid at the time, his father. So now and then we touch base, and now when a couple of months ago, I Christmas I sent him a Merry Christmas thing from Cayman. They always remembered us. They thought it was so unique, so rare from an island so far away. Who is these guys with a population of under 80,000 or 80,000 at the time, or 70, whatever it was, 5 years ago, calling for these testing kits, want to make this deal. And like I say, I always believe that was the grace of God, because he knew where my heart lay. He knew where me and Verna and Fernando heart is. We were never to make anything. I remember something that touched him, and he cried. He said, and that was Verna, and I always remember that. My mum would have passed away a year before that. And Verna mum is in the pines, and he said, Craig, I don't want to wake up and lose mama. And that's always stayed with me. And he cried, and I said, that's not going to happen today, Verna. Because there was actually some hiccups during the negotiation.
Okay.
And how we got it. And that was the call that I had to make. I made the call. And we told the governor's office at the time, it was only about 10 or 12 people that knew about this, that we're going to do this and we're going to make the call. And they said, no problem. They had the faith in us. It's not that we were giving it to them, because we knew what we were doing. And because it wasn't about money. Anyhow, that was
okay.
Thank you for bringing that up.
We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, first, I want to talk about some of the revelations, some of the things that you're seeing, on the campaign trail as well. We know that manifestos have been published and everything, and want to hear from you as an individual, because while there are party aspirations, there are certain things that the candidates want to do as well. I thought we had a break now, but we don't have a break, so we're going to continue the conversation. So rather than giving you the multiple questions, let's just first talk about what you're discovering on the campaign trail, some of the concerns that people have voiced to you, some of their concerns, as well.
This is going to be a very important election. I've been in elections for a long time. You know that. I've been in it from the 90s. When you were at
registration and stuff.
Registration drive in 2000. But this one is going to be, I team in it as the most important election since the discovery of Cayman Islands in 1502 or 1503, because everybody's on board now. But I knew my district. I grew up on Walker's Road. I where Winslow Park is today was just what we called a cluster back in the day. So I knew it from where the park is, which was all mango trees right back up, and I've seen that whole area grown over the last 4 to 45 years. I've been to homes. I know a lot of the people. I see and embrace their concerns, regardless if it's health insurance, regardless if it's flooding, regardless if it's the garbage in the area, old vehicles, or issues with their concern with the cost of living and housing. You hear so many stories, but you hearing and seeing it at the same time by walking in. So it's no surprise to me with the multitude of problems that have arisen in this country over the last, 8, 10, 15 years. And it has caught up. And people are now waking up to the fact like, wow. Those that were, it's been 25 years now, probably since, 21 years since the disaster of Hurricane Ivan. Those that are, I like to say that was 10 or 10 years old, or 10 years or 20 years added on to that. They have kids today. They have family. They are between their 30s and 40. I'm going to talk about that age group. They got young families. Yet again, the success of this country and the opportunities that lay in this country is right there in front of their face, and they don't get the opportunities like the others, regardless of what it is. If it could be the young lady that come back from school from scholarship. My daughter Tishan will be back soon. She's in Liverpool. What will become of Tishan? Will Tishan say, hey, Dad, I think I can stay over here in London or move up to the UK? Wow. But what is happening is that, what I'm saying is that you have a young family who have a mother or a grandparent staying with them, or vice versa. They themselves that are smarter, that have qualification, not even getting the opportunity to even survive with their young ones let alone looking after mom and dad who's in their 60s or 70s today. So there we have a big gap. We have a aging population, right, between 65 and 75 years old, and then we have this gap here between 40 and 50, which is smaller. But then we have the younger generation that come in who should be providing and helping their mom, dad, or their grandparents. They themselves can't even bridge the gap. I go to a mother's home, see the medicine, water coming into there every year. One thing not going to stop is rains. Rain comes in, destroy their furniture, destroy their stove. They can't bake, right? Multiple stories. The walls are built up, 2 to 3 block heights. You got to step up and step down. I said to a few of them, I said, well, what will happen with this? What happened? They said, well, we got pump it out, and we got to put this board up. They got blocks around the thing. It's like barriers they put in their home, but because of the flooding, because of development. And this is something that I've been looking into for a long time because I grew up with that. When Windsor Park Road in front of off of Walker's Road in front of Vigor Nursery flooded, that water goes down. And you've been to my place, which is your Uncle Boy house. Water would come through Rolando's and into mine. And I think I showed it to you some years ago where part I built this culvert, where part I got it made. So when the water came over, the water drained into this pipe and gone out, and I started to think about that. And I started to talk about different people, you know, an architect, a friend of mine, Ada Thompson, actually gave me the go, and he said, Craig, you don't reinvent the wheel. And he said, all of this stuff have always been in the development plan, but it was never implemented. What I'm talking about is flood control management. And you have like a pond. Let's pretend that this is a pond area. You dig that out and you put up all of the pumps and stuff. You have everything going in that basement. That's a catch basement. That's all it is. Catchment. And you got some pumps that move it up. One of the lowest points, and I'm talking about flood now, is in the Windsor Park area. That's one of the lowest points. And Anthony Drive, in part of Smith Road and going on to Smith Road Villas, is one of the lowest points. And then when you get round at Bobby Thompson, you go up on a higher level. That is where the good cavity is, right? In the earth geological ground and blah, blah, blah. I'm not an engineer, but my understanding talking to the gentlemen at NRA, who's been very helpful, by the way, and they only could do so much. But one of the things I would like to, that I've talked about with our party is putting in these management system in Georgetown West and other places as well. Once we retain the government on May the 1st.
What about those residents that you have spoken about, where the condition of their dwelling is in such shape as well?
It is in bad shape, but check this out. Are you
taking either mental or physical notes so that those situations can be addressed if and when you're elected?
Well, let me put it this way: we've been helping out. I've been helping out for the longest time, for the last 8, 10, 15 years. Every time there's a flood in the area, I residents on East Boulevard, but it's all connected. And one of the things I do now and then, when you see that, I actually take out the drains with the plastic that going in and try to get them cleaned out. Back in June last year, when we had the bad rains, we were on the ground helping a lot of families and people. We were helping a lot of people, like I've always did, with plywood to put on their windows with the hurricane season that coming up, and we really had a big unpredictable July when that one came so quickly, plus the rains before that. So one of the most disappointing things is homes or apartment complex that's under strata. Strata just takes their money and don't put nothing in, and that is not right. We need to strengthen those strata laws. We need to put some more teeth in that. And because they're there, but they're not being followed from a management or policy perspective, and this is where government can have to step in with the borders that's under those particular laws to kind of have them either find or look into it to say, no, you can't have this. There's a particular place in Windsor Park, townhomes, and the lady says she keep on smelling the septic scent. Now I know they have a system in there. So we went around and looked at it. Her air conditioner is not working. So you have the system in between the two blocks. But what's happening, because they don't have an air conditioner, got the window up, the scent is coming in. And I could actually smell it. So she took me into the room, and I saw it. So I went outside and I took pictures. Now, you know I'm a picture man. So I take pictures of everything and just to note them down, take their names and stuff. Now, like I said, numbers are in strength. And I've spoken to a lot of them. So you need to write to your strata. You need to tell them this what you want. You need to get a lawyer. And some people have. And some people have gotten through. But they're taking their strata fees. But what are you doing with the strata fees? So a lot of things are really not put back into what they're paying for. Yeah.
Okay. We know also, and you've spoken about this before.
Boy, I can have our topic on there. What I can do, I like to take you around with me with a camera. You see some stuff that'll blow your mind. I mean, you know.
Yeah. But we know your interest is in sports, as well. You've been involved in many sporting bodies here in the Cayman Islands. As in the executive level as well. And we see opportunities in sports now being created. I believe there's a young man now who's playing in the Masters in Augusta, Georgia. This weekend as well, starting today. What are your plans as far as improving sports is concerned? We know we had some situations. You may or may not want to talk about it. In terms of Caymanian representation and whether or not on some particular committees, whether or not Caymanian athletes are given a fair chance, as well.
Yeah.
What's your vision in terms of sports? I can see you now. If you're elected and your government is in possibly being a parliamentary secretary in the Ministry of Sports.
Well, yeah, thanks for that. Well, I've been in that all of my life. I understand the borders. I understand the working borders of my sport is cycling, but cycling borders is not a difference than like whether it's the UCI or the FIFA or what. They all have a borders, but it all have their rules and general rules and regulation and youth development, so on and so forth. But for years, government all had the sports ministry, and how that works is that every association would submit their plan for, used to be a year or two, change up, more structured now for like 4 years. What do you have in line for 4 years? And then you would have to have a plan. In order to have those plans to make them be realistic, those associations also have to be well organized and serious. That, well, I got a coach. I got this level of coaching degree in world of cycling. That's a level 3 or 4 coach, which we have now, Mr. Ken Gotil, but he's not an official coach. But what needs to be strengthened? We need to have a separate body. Other countries that is well developed, they got, like, say, the Australian Institute of Sport, or the Jamaican Institute of Sport, or the Sports Commission. They have different bodies that have policies, right, carved out through the government. So basically what I would like to see happen is the sports is moved over to a body, like, say, the Sports Commission that we have, but with more teeth and more serious policies. They would be the governing body now per the country for the development. A liaison would be from the sports minister, like how they has in the different authorities when you got represented on, like 2 or 3, knowing what's happening. You're the figurehead, you're the director, but it has to be a paid position. This volunteer thing, it doesn't work. It has to be well organized.
And do you believe that sufficient funding is provided to sporting organizations as we speak currently? Do you believe that there's sufficient funding?
No. Because they don't understand that if you want to go to the gentleman that's playing at Augusta, the gentleman or the crooks, the brothers and sisters, that is all through their hard work, but not in Cayman. That's in the system that they are going to university. So that's a different animal altogether. But for Cayman, we could build our base. But the funding have to be seriously looked at from the different federations. The federation play too much time, tactics with self-interest, right? With self-interest. And the athlete at the end of the day is the one that loses out. And this has been a common thing in Cayman sports for many years. And today, it actually affects cycling. Because this is not the cycling that Bob and Eunice built, or the cycling that the late Bob and Eunice or Tate Great or what we've done. When we achieved stuff for many years, it has gone down. And we got Nathaniel Forbes, who's probably lost out in his career in cycling because of the lack of promoting the rider and its coach for further development.
Okay, you read my mind on that. So we're going to go to the commercial break. But when we return, you mentioned the late Bob and Eunice. You mentioned the late Tate Gray, who was your mentor.
Very much.
We can mention also Peter Larder.
That's right. Yeah, sent me a message a few days ago.
and I'm trying to remember the other gentleman now and his wife. I think you visited them in.
John Reed. John Reed passed away years ago, and Miss Caroline Reed. She's still around. Yeah.
We want to talk about those individuals. Where in the Cayman Islands do we have them today? Everyone is in it for their own selfish reasons.
That's right.
Mr. Gray gave everything that he had.
That's for a penny.
Bob and Eunice gave.
Same thing.
Peter Larder gave. John Reed gave. Where are those today? And what are your views and your party's views in terms of putting Caymanians first and foremost? We'll expect an answer from you as soon as we return from this commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. Talk Today. We'll be back shortly.
Feeding a crowd? Subway Catering makes it easy. Choose from freshly made sub and wrap platters in 2 sizes, or go for individual boxed meals, complete with a 6-inch sub, cookie, and chips. Perfect for groups of 15 or more. And don't forget dessert. Our freshly baked cookie platters come in 2 sizes, so there's always enough to go around. Visit www.subway.ky to view our catering menu. You can call or email us to place your order. Then choose to pick up in-store or get hassle-free delivery. However you cater, we've got the fresh flavors everyone loves. Subway. Eat fresh. Cater with ease.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
CUC is committed to empowering our community, from energy-saving initiatives to stories of real impact. The Empowering Cayman is about how together we're shaping a sustainable future. Visit empoweringcayman.com to learn more and get involved.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Protect your computers and mobile devices with security software to defend against cyber attacks through viruses, malware, and other online threats. Be aware of unsecure Wi-Fi connections when in public. If you need to access your online banking or sensitive information on your mobile devices, try disabling the Wi-Fi and switching to data from your mobile network. If you suspect a fraud attempt, please contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Looking to transform your space? From custom homes to commercial spaces, we bring your vision to life with precision, quality, and elegance. At Mike's Builders, we make it happen.
Mike's Builders turned my dream home into a reality. Their team is professional, efficient, and truly the best in the business. Good communication? Check. Cleanliness? Check. Professionalism? On point. You have to try Mike's Builders for yourself.
Call us today at 923-0706. That's 923-0706. Mike's Builders. Let's build a beautiful world together.
Which direction will you steer the country? On April 30th, you'll vote on 3 important questions. A national lottery. Could it boost funding or bring social risks? Cruise berthing. Will it help tourism or harm the environment? Cannabis. Could decriminalizing reduce pressure on the courts or create new health and safety concerns? Get the facts. Make your voice heard. On April 30th, you steer the country. Visit gov.ky/referendum to learn more.
The nation listens. The candidates speak. Subway presents the General Election Debates live in studio on Radio Cayman 89.9 FM and 93.9 in the Sister Islands every Monday and select Wednesdays from 7 to 10 p.m. 2 sessions, one powerful discussion. With Election Day fast approaching, hear what the candidates have to say on the cost of living, housing and development, economic growth, sustainability, education, transport, tourism, immigration, and more. Who has the vision? Who has the plan? Hear it all unfold live, unfiltered, and on the voice of the Cayman Islands, Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM and 93.9, streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. Visit Radio Cayman's social media pages for debate details. Brought to you in part by Cayman Enterprise City, Reflections, UCCI, and YUM.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. My pleasure to have in the studio with me this afternoon Mr. Craig Marin, who is a candidate in the upcoming general elections representing the Cayman Islands National Party, seeking to represent the constituency of Georgetown West. He is number 3 on the ballot paper as well. So, Mr. Merren, before we went to the commercial break, talking about Ted Gray, who wasn't interested in permanent residence or Caymanian status while he was coaching, worked at CIBC, didn't think anything of taking his truck, and those were the days when you could ride on the roads of the Cayman Islands, having you and all of the other guys, motor pace behind the truck. The late Bobby Nunes. I don't know of his financial situation, but I don't think that he was hurting in any way. He wasn't looking for anything. John Reed did what he wanted to do, what he had to do, and at the end of the day decided to move on. Also Peter Larder, worked at CIBC, basically did the same thing. They weren't looking for PR points. They did what they did because that came natural to them. It was coming from their heart. What do you say now, about our immigration situation here in the Cayman Islands? And we used some of the sporting organizations, as an example, and we take them and compare and contrast them, with some of the names that we have mentioned here. Your views, sir?
Well, see, the days of people coming here from the late 60s, early 70s, like the Peter Ladders, Mr. Nunes, Mr. Gray came around in the 80s and stuff, and John Reed in the 80s. Dave Sargentson, many people that cared and loved us in Caymanians, and they was the backbone of my support and Perry's support and Maryland's and Mitchell Smith and many of the riders in the early 80s when the association was formed. They did it out of love. They didn't ask for anything. As a matter of fact, they put more money into that sport in terms of buying us bikes, frames, or whatever it was. Never asked for one thing. Today's humans, I like to call them, that come here, takes advantage of that. We do not have those sort of people like the Ladders or Mr. Gray or Mr. Nunes or the Sargentson and that come to these shores anymore. It's very rare you find that today. Everybody looks at Cayman. Let me see if I get a piece out of this chunk. They come
Everybody
here.
has an agenda.
Everybody has an agenda, and I can tell you it had affected cycling in itself. You can't have people on a work permit that been here for 6 months or a year, and all of a sudden makes a decision on a Caymanian rider, right, and his development, and they all have internal personal issues for their personal agendas. And I'm saying it like how it is, because they got about 3 or 4 or 5 of them that been on the cycling board over the last 3 to 4 years that have really affected the development of some young riders, right? And that's a sad situation. Then they'll do it for and I know it for points, Because I've been on association for many years. I've found letters dating back from 2009, 10, 11, 12. You probably don't remember. And I think you were immigration at the time, but you probably don't, where they were writing letters to each other.
Letters of recommendation.
That they did, and I came across one that was very upsetting. As a matter of fact, I actually met the board, I think it was in 2010 or 11, with the help of Mr. Gray at the time, and wrote something to say, this is absolutely a lie. And they shut the person down, which never they got their residence in.
Mm-hmm.
We need to go back to the days of Cayman, the Protection Board. This whole point system, that need to be revamped. That need to go. We need to start to find people that means well for this country, and not give them some sort of a platform where within 5 or 10 years they become our master. Right, and that's how Caymanian feel. And I'm just talking about cycling. I'm just talking about what I see and what's happening, and I ain't lying about it, right? And I'm not holding back. And you got Caymanians that know that as well, that sometimes kind of disappoint me, really disappoint me, where they should be doing better than that. So it impacts our lives, even in the world of cycling, on the boards making a decision for me. You can apply that, and you can put that on a particular HR personnel or an assistant that's on the same wavelength that affects a Caymanian who's applying for a job. I worked at a telecom company one time. When a person come in, the Caymanian, they were taking it, putting it on the big trash can for shredding. Of course, the Caymanian that told me that after she left, and I said, "Boy, I was sure to tell me that." So these are the things that happen. It works today. When you get in a call and you're on a line with someone, you don't know where they are. They got all your information right there. They copy that, probably use that, put that on one of their buddies. So we got a very, very weak border control and immigration process.
So what do you say to those people who are listening to you now, or who may later on go and watch the clip on YouTube and say, "Oh, Craig sounds anti-expatriate"?
No, man, no anti-expatriate at all. It's we welcome everyone, love everyone, but everyone have to follow the protocols. And I'm not saying that
and this isn't home for everybody.
No, Cayman not for everybody. And this is the thing: people don't want Cayman to be their home. They want to see what they could get out of this home, out of this place. And you're saying, hey, no problem, come, but you can follow the rules here going forward. And a lot of them have taken advantage. And our past politicians and policymakers has really let that slip. And you see the problem we are in today in 2025. If 30, 40, 50 years ago, that wouldn't have happened. As Mr. Benson said, we have to build Cayman in 74, actually. We have to build Cayman according to our population and what we have to fill that gap. We didn't adhere to that. Now we're at a situation today across the board, even in the sporting associations, that we see this sort of taking advantage of the system, and others just sit by and just let it roll and go.
Okay.
But no, not at all. Bobby Nunes, the late Bobby Nunes, late Tate Gray, late John Reed, Mr. Lada, Dave Sargentson, and many others that came here weren't like that, right? And they're the one that contributed to me. So you want to come, we got to work together. Embrace Cayman, embrace the culture, embrace the people.
Let's talk about another organization, your old employer.
Which one?
I'll tell you in a second.
Go ahead.
And just recently, this week, we had calls coming in from people complaining about their inability to access the credit that they have on their phones, and the not being able to access. Some people even saying that they knew they had a certain amount of credit on there. When they got there, it wasn't there. Now, what was Cable and Wireless and is now Flow was one of the preeminent employers in the Cayman Islands in the 60s, in the 70s, even in the 80s.
And 90s.
People looked at Caribbean Utilities Company and Cable and Wireless as places of opportunity for Caymanians. You work there, so you know what opportunities that you have. If you are elected to office, knowing the services that were provided before to the people of the Cayman Islands, what would you do to ensure that entities like Flow and others provide the type of service that people are paying for and that they're held legally responsible for doing that? Based on your experience, knowing what they're capable of doing and what they have done. I believe what we'll do, let's take the last commercial break, Miss Susan. This way we won't have to interrupt Mr. Merren to go to a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned for Talk Today. We'll be back shortly.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Easter vacation is just around the corner, and Cayman Airways has added multiple extra flights to some of your favorite destinations, some of mine too. Look here, they got seats available now for booking on extra Easter flights between Grand Cayman and Kingston, La Ceiba, Miami, Cayman Brac, Little Cayman, and you can even catch a non-stop flight to Montego Bay for Easter. Check it out. You can visit CaymanAirways.com, contact a local travel agent, or call Cayman Airways Reservations on 949-2311. And don't wait too long though, because these extra Easter seats always sell fast. Be sure to add your Sir Turtle Rewards number to your booking so you can earn more miles for more free trips this year. But I know where I'm going. I'll see you on board a uniquely Caymanian airline for Easter. The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skin care, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drportercayman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
On something. You think if we keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, anything can change? No, brother. Cayman needs change. We deserve better. And I say no more. Caymanians are not for sale. Real change comes from hard work and investing in our people. And the time for change is now. And I will deliver the change we need. Ranking needs the one for we. Give him the vote and you will see.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. We're in the last segment of this part of our show with Mr. Craig Marin, who is number 3 on the ballot paper for the constituency of Georgetown West in the upcoming April 30th general elections. So, Mr. Merren, we're talking, about some of the service providers here in the Cayman Islands, and people complaining about the level of service that they received. You worked for one of those service providers. As a matter of fact, I believe you may even have done some commercials, spots and all that. You were a youth spokesman at one point in time. Tell us about the culture that was within those organizations then, and what people are experiencing now, where they can't reach someone. Their bill payments, have changed, where you can't drop it off anymore. You have to go to someplace else, and no one is notified of all of these things that are happening. Can we continue to allow that type of service here in the Cayman Islands?
Well, welcome to the world of technology. Banks are closing now at 3 o'clock. It's going to soon be closing at 12, and so we'll use the machines. I go to the bank a couple of days ago. I was standing in line. The lady comes and said, well, you could use the machine. I like, really? Just say, yeah. I write up my stuff, stick it in, boom, that was it. Not everybody know how to do that, right? And they have a hard time with that. I just use that as an example.
Yep.
You have to remember, this is the age of technology. Now, my back in the day was more when companies came in. I started at Cable and Wireless in 1990 as a test clerk and testing telephone lines and stuff, and worked my way back up as a trained serviceman and a serviceman. And Cable and Wireless employed a lot of young Caymanians back in the day from the actual beginning. As a matter of fact, next year, 2026, will mark its 60th anniversary for Cable and Wireless, once it first came here in 1966.
Yeah.
But the many Caymanians that went through that system is one of the most organized, kindest things that you could do back in those days. And that wasn't only Cable and Wireless, that was with the banks, that was with if it was heavy equipment, if men were coming back to sea. My father's one, Uncle Jack is one, that came back and worked with Hals Faltic and many companies. It was a same embracement that they wanted to embrace the Cayman Islands culture and the people. They believed in empowering the people. Nobody didn't believe about bringing someone to operate a back or pulling a telephone line or so on and so forth. But as time went on, what we have to understand is that companies became interested in a particular telephone company. Cable and Wireless sold up most of its shares by early 2000, 2001 and 2. That's when it started to change. Decided, said, well, we don't need the 611 operator here, the operators here in Cayman anymore. No operators here anymore. All of that stuff is gone and dumped. Everything went online. So the company that bought it said, well, let's put a call center in Timbuktu, India, or Asia, or Jamaica, or Barbados, the way you see it today. So when you call them today, there's always still a frustration, but that's the change of the world. That's the change when companies are buying out. To conduct that sort of stuff, to make sure that you're online, this is where part of off-rig sort of would come in and kind of put some more pressure on them to say, hey, this is unacceptable, your service that we're having. And I know a lot of our residents and for these services have complained endlessly to off-rig about the inconsistencies of the billing or the technology. So that is something that we would certainly look into to find out the loopholes, and even if we have to strengthen that body to find, because one thing companies don't like is when you start to find them. They don't want to pay the bill. People do not like to pay the bill, right? So that is something that we certainly will look into and strengthen, and make sure that the service provider give the right service to what people are paying for. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so that like I say, that is welcome to the world of companies buying up companies, and don't give a hoots about you there. So this is just not a Cayman thing; it's a worldwide problem. But we feel it more because we're smaller. And we like that sort of personal when somebody pick up the phone, how you doing today, blah blah blah. You there was a time I used to call you, but yeah, at immigration, some issues or something, right, or get your opinion and some. But all that has changed.
Yeah, one of our listeners has written in and said, "Please tell Craig I'll help him with the sports tourism, especially cricket. If you become a parliamentary secretary as well," and they say they
might be teasing me.
They're anonymous. They're anonymous. This other person has written in and said, "Great straight talk by Craig. He's a solid citizen and a great candidate."
So, well, thank you for that. Well, they know cricket, not my favorite sport, but I didn't like it. I used to always prefer watching breadfruit grow than to watch cricket. But anyhow.
And then we have another one here. This person says, question for Craig: where does he see responsibility for talent identification and talent development? Where do you see the responsibility for talent identification? Where does that lie?
That would probably lie in, you find talent in let's say we talk about sports or any other activity. You normally see that, you could see that in early, detect that in early childhood development. Mm-hmm. Someone that is very special at something, someone good at swimming, track and field, gymnastic, swimming, cricket, football. And this is where the youth development should come in.
Yeah.
Wellness and youth development. I would like to see two of them kind of combine with a sort of a relationship with education, because I have to talk from the education standpoint, youth development, and sports. Both those and wellness, those have to combine, because they're all in one body, and you could identify that and then work on those strengths. And again, this is where the borders in schools have to be strengthened. We got a football field. Why not build some small BMX track? Why not build we got a gymnast place, but different activities for the sports. It don't have to be at every school, but it could be at a particular sporting complex. Let's say we took 5 more acres where we at. Not necessarily in Georgetown either. It could be out on the Eastern District, somewhere off of out of Borden Town, where they have a lot of land. I always thought that as a part of a sport complex should go with multiple type of sports. But for the arts and stuff like that, then that would fall under those particular things. If you in music, I think music classes should be stronger to identify potential singers.
Let's talk about a particular one that you mentioned. I'm not sure if you mentioned his name earlier, but in cycling, how was Nathaniel Forbes? How was he identified as being a natural as far as cycling is concerned? How did we?
He
discover
popped up.
him?
He just when we started to have the events around in around 15 and 16. He just had a knack for cycling, and I know his father and mom very well, Mr. Churchill, from Rockhole. But he just said he loved it when I met him. We had some local events, and you could always tell in the world of cycling, you can always tell the rider's natural ability, how he rides, his posture. His timing based on his age, based on the one that won, and that's where he started to shine. And he popped up on our calendar around about 16, 17. At the time, we didn't have his coach now, Can Go Cool Hair, but then we started to work from him from then. Myself, and I give credit where credit is due. Jerome as well. I think had him in the studio at some point. Mitchell Smith and I, we kept a good eye on him, gave him whatever he needed, wheels, tires, tubes, frame, etc., and worked on him from there. But he's a natural, and his brother as well, Chris. But Nathaniel stuck to it, and by the time Ken Go Cool got here, we introduced him and said, well, we got this young man and 2 others, and this is where part of the defining come with the athlete to set him up and see what is his natural ability. At one stage we thought because he was tall that he was a good climber, but actually he's a natural sprinter. So if you had to put him in a race, he would be a good one-day classic rider, but probably would kind of find it difficult in tours. But that's his natural ability. So Case in point, yeah.
Okay. Today's what? Today's the 10th?
Today's
so we
the
have
10th.
20 days left before the elections?
Actually, 21 days of today.
Yeah.
So this day, in the next 3 weeks, today will be May the 1st.
Okay.
And that day, the Cayman Islands will wake up to the Cayman Islands National Party, leaving this country for another 4 years. Okay. Don't forget, now I'm going to push this in now, get my little guy, to vote for every Caymanian candidate on the Cayman Islands National Party. Every one of us, 12 of us. If you want the change that you want to see for your children, for your grandchildren, and the future generation, you must do this. You know, Caymanians, you know, my dear people, the issues that we have had. It's not me. The proof is in the pudding. It's all right there for the last 4 years, 8 years, or 12 years. Look, and for those representatives where they have failed, and failed, I ask you to look and think about this afternoon, tonight, now, after this show, to ask yourselves, where do I want my child to be that is now 15 in the next 4 years, or my child that are 20 in the next 24 years, or my grandchild in the next, let's say, 20 years. 20 years is 5 elections away. And that will come like that. We have to now start making the pathway for them. Don't do it because you like this one and that one. Do it what your heart tells you. I've been to many of your places. I've seen the issues. I know the issues. You know me. I know you, right? I don't know if you don't know me. But I might know you, or vice versa. You know the issues and what need to be done. This is your only hope, right? Is to make those changes in the next 30 days. And on May the 1st, wake up on the
20
beautiful
days.
going.
20 days.
20 days?
Yeah.
20 days. Thank you, We'll He's counting. The right decision for your children.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 7th generational Caymanian. I'm on mother's side. And OC, what are we? About 15? I mean, from grandfather's side. OC is my cousin, by the way. You got to call my grandfather boy young.
You know what they're going to do now? They're going to say, that's why you're giving him the
No, he gives me a hard time.
Questions.
He gives me a hard time. Look, I need extra time for all that. No.
Okay.
But definitely, yeah. And
before we go, we want you to talk about what's coming up, upcoming events as far as your constituency and the party is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
This person has written and said that Craig Marin is the definition of a Caymanian. No apologies, straight talk, common sense solutions, honest, approachable. When you see Craig with his coat of arms tattoo and thatch hat on, any Caymanian should feel a sense of pride. Craig truly cares for his community and has the qualities necessary to make a good representative. Good luck on April 30th, Mr. Merren.
Well, thank you very much, whoever sent that. I really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart.
Okay, let's talk about future upcoming events for you as well.
Well, Paul, we got a meeting tonight. I'll be there with Miss Carmen Markfield. JJ Boy, so much on to bring the schedule tonight. And my meeting for me is on the 23rd. My last meeting will be on April the 23rd in Winslow Park, in the park. And I'm going to be doing some more podcasts. I will actually be coming on this show over the coming weeks as well.
Mm-hmm.
I would just let them know, let the voting public know that you could go on our Cayman Islands National Party website, and then you could find all the information right there. You could give me a call, 345-938-7827. It's actually 938 star. That's what the 7827 is. So 345-938-7827.
Mm-hmm.
Craig Tyrone Marin, number 3, will set you free on April the 30th. When you wake up, you will see a new beginning on May the 1st, 2025. So help us God in these beloved islands. Thank you.
Mr. Merren, I want to thank you. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best, as well, and look forward to having more conversations with you either here on Talk Today or on
the road,
or
on the bicycle.
Talking
for the record. Oh, yeah. Well, it's not for the record. Oh, yeah, you're more on the show for the record. Or we can have the third one on the bicycle ride.
Yeah, we do a show on the bicycle.
Yeah, no bad idea. I need a piece of my silver touch rope. You can pull it up, and you're so fit now.
Cycle and talk. That's
I like that.
When we were in Jamaica, bless her soul, Helen Perkins and her husband, Billy, would talk about by land ride.
By land ride?
Yeah, that means, you're cycling, but you're looking at land as you're cycling to see what land you can buy as well. Folks, when we return, we will have, open line for you to call in as well. So don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. Talk Today. We'll be back shortly.
The preceding was a paid political broadcast.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market.
I'm April Cummings with your latest headlines. The National Drug Council announces the 2025 theme of Alcohol Awareness Month, The Silent Cost of Alcohol, a Lifetime of Impact. The NCD is hoping to shed light on the hidden lifelong effects of alcohol use and encourage safer practices within our community. In regional headlines, Jamaicans for Justice will lead a protest on the 29th of April against a sharp rise in police killings. So far this year, 93 people have been killed by police, a staggering 165% increase over last year. The human rights group is demanding accountability and systemic reform. Controversy in New York as Mayor Eric Adams announces an ICE office will be opening on Rikers Island. The New York Immigration Coalition and City Council Speaker Adrienne Adams strongly condemns the move, citing concerns for immigrant rights and the city's sanctuary laws. Those are your headlines. I'm April Cummings.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Message us at 925-3261 on WhatsApp today and get active with Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. That was a very good interview. Good talk with Mr. Craig Marin as well, like some of our listeners pointed out. Speaking from the heart, he's a natural, as well when it comes, to talking. So hope and trust that you enjoyed that, and if you have any feedback that you want to provide, please do so as well. Meanwhile, we do have a caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today.
Well, thank you, OC. It's me again.
Hey, good. Perfect timing.
Well, and I had a promise to keep as well. Just like politicians have to keep promises,
yes.
We all have to keep promises. Now, just where I left off, OC, and in a sense, this also dovetails a little bit with what you were discussing with Mr. Craig Marin, who we hope will become the Honorable Craig Marin soon. We'll see how that happens.
Okay.
You see, so I was talking about, he was talking about how, well, let's get people who come in and are just not in Cayman, so to speak, to build themselves, but they also want to build Cayman.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the problem with that, OC, is that those of us who have tried to make that contribution and meet that expectation, for Caymanians. Sometimes they wound up being victimized, and then we had nobody among the Caymanians, let alone status holders, to defend us. And I don't say this just because it was an experience I had, but I think it also shows how Caymanians, one, are not really in charge in certain places, and also how Caymanians can be exploited, or rather can be mistreated, and yet they also don't get any fellow Caymanian to assist them. Like in this particular case, without mentioning names, like I said, I offered to train this Caymanian how to write laws. I've got a great background in writing laws. I mean, I've taught lawyers in Canada how to write laws. I still do that even now.
Okay.
And I actually started doing this more like in an academic setting when I was used to go to the Institute of International Development Law in Italy, which was an English-speaking institution, but it was set in Italy because it was very central to bring people from the Caribbean and from Africa and from Asia and so on.
Okay.
So in other words, I had the qualifications to be able to teach somebody, but I was told by a status holder to say you can't teach a Caymanian. And then the Caymanian was mistreated because they told the Caymanian, before you will be taught, but you won't be taught by X, by meaning me. But when we were ready to teach you, you have to get a master's first. So she went to get a master's, she came back, and when she came back, again, really, they didn't want to teach her. And the silly thing about that is that the head of department, who was telling her, you have to get a master's before we can teach you, she herself never had a master's degree, and now is a KC. So do you see? To me, I think if you want people to come in and do certain things that you want them to do and to assist you, you have to be ready to protect them if they get victimized, okay? Now, let me go to the debate, about the debate last night. The debate last night, top quality. It was contentious without being acrimonious. It was good to watch. It had a lot of information, and I think all debaters did well. And to me, the statistics that stood out, some of them are... It was mentioned that in the tourist industry, something like 74% of the jobs which have been created in the last few years, 74% went to foreigners. And that works out to about 3 out of every 4 jobs go to foreigners. I mean, that is particularly bad.
Yeah.
So even when they are talking, for example, about the cruise ship or cargo dock, whichever one you want to talk about, when they say jobs are going to be created, the chances are that 3 out of those jobs, 3 out of 4 will go to foreigners. I mean, is that really sufficient incentive if you didn't have any other incentive to support that? And then came the status grants. He said, and I think this statistic has been given by other candidates, 1,560 status grants in 2024. And that works out to about 30 per week. And as one candidate said, about 4 per day. And if you want to take it further, it is about 1 every 6 hours. Okay?
But what they failed their caller is that they didn't say what categories they were in. And I think MP Chris Saunders once provided the figures in terms of the various categories that those status grants were for. Because just giving out, statistics can be misleading depending on how they're used. Yeah.
Precisely. They are open. Well, first of all, you need to know the internals of those statistics and a lot of other things. Now, the other significant statistic, which I don't think was mentioned in the debate, I understand the birth rate in Cayman, the natural birth rate is about 800 plus every year.
Okay.
So that if you are giving sister status grants, which are almost 1,600 per year, if subject to all the caveats about that, and then your birth rate is about 800, it means that you are reducing your natural population by about 50% every year, and and that can be very interesting. But in the end, just to try and conclude this, OC, despite politicians knowing some of this stuff, which has now been updated, despite the politicians knowing this, why haven't they done anything about it up to now? So what promise really? I mean, what expectation can we have that these things which have been issues for decades, suddenly they came to a head in 2003, they are coming to another head now. I think Caymanians, that you have to answer as Caymanians, as indigenous Caymanians, that is, will you survive as a species or as a culture at this rate? That is one. Two, do you think that there are any politicians who are going to seriously address this issue? And if it turns out within the first few months of being elected, they are not addressing this issue, Caymanians, you have to face the question that what are you going to do then? I hope you won't say, well, let's wait for the election in 2029. Okay? Because, you are doing the same thing expecting a different result. And I think, to me, this is the fundamental question it is. Are they going to do this? Can they be trusted? If they don't do it, what is going to be the response of the public? Because to me, if it gets to 2029 or even just 2-3 years after the election without being done, I think probably there'll be a point of no return. Yeah, that's my little point here.
Before you go, Billy, so we know that there was a white paper that was published on immigration before. Depending on which government gets in, well, we know that was done by was it the UPM?
I think it was the UPM. Yes, right, yes. I think it started before probably, but I think it came out eventually by UPM. Right.
Yes. We would hope that document isn't discarded, but it will be used as a starting point to get the ball moving on immigration issues. The other part that I would...
Exactly, also, a starting point, and you're very right, a starting point.
And the other thing is that I have never been a chairperson of any of the boards. I'm currently deputy chairperson of the Business Staffing Plan Board, but I've never been a chair of that. I've never been a chair of the Permanent Residence and Status Board or the Work Permit Board. But I know for facts that previous chairpersons of those boards have given written comments and written recommendations at the end of their tenure. We should look back at some of those recommendations, and not only that, if there's to be any further discussions in relation to how we move forward and what is done, that they include those former chairpersons of those boards, because they see exactly what has taken place and some of the issues that they have to deal with, some instances where their hands are tied and can't do anything. They need to ensure that they talk to the right people.
I agree, Ozzy, because and I didn't know that actually. I'm just learning that now. Not that I should have known it. Yes, because a lot of times as outsiders, sometimes we think that something is not working well because X is not doing the right thing. But the people who are in the spot, they have these problems. So if they can say what pressures they have faced, what limitations maybe in terms of resources they face, although I think this is more an issue of political will, if that can be done, and once they synthesize that properly, I think there is need for a public consultation. Not these things where you just put it on the website and say send in your comments. I think take it to the town halls. Take it down to the town halls and hear it. Let's see it on YouTube. Let's attend if we can, and so forth. And then have it properly take place in the public domain. Because last time when Dr. Steve was doing this, he did mention, I think, on your show that they went to caucus, and caucus were not happy with what they had recommended. And yesterday, I think Andre in the debates, he did mention that these things were discussed at caucus, but they were not able to agree. So they need to do it. Okay, it still has to go to caucus first, and then to cabinet, and then the cabinet will decide what document to consult on. But really, the public has to be involved. That is very, very important.
Thank you very much, Billy. You take care.
Thanks, Bye.
Okay, folks, we're going to take our last commercial break. Please stay tuned. Talk Today. We'll be back shortly.
Did you know ordering your favorite sandwich from Subway just got easier? Yeah, picture this. No more waiting in line. No more fussing with cash. Just a delicious taste of Subway at your fingertips. With our new app, ordering your go-to sub is as easy as a few taps on your phone. Plus, receive exclusive deals and earn loyalty points with every purchase made on the app. Download the new Subway app today and get ready to ditch the lines and drive straight into your flavor. Visit the App Store or Google Play Store on your mobile phone and search for Subway Cayman Islands. Subway. Eat fresh.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning.
Ouch!
When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Easter vacation is just around the corner, and Cayman Airways has added multiple extra flights to some of your favorite destinations, some of mine too. Look here, they got seats available now for booking on extra Easter flights between Grand Cayman and Kingston, La Ceiba, Miami, Cayman Brac, Little Cayman, and you can even catch a non-stop flight to Montego Bay for Easter. Check it out. You can visit CaymanAirways.com, contact a local travel agent, or call Cayman Airways Reservations on 949-2311. And don't wait too long though, because these extra Easter seats always sell fast. Be sure to add your Sir Turtle Rewards number to your booking so you can earn more miles for more free trips this year. Well, I know where I'm going. I'll see you on board a uniquely Caymanian airline for Easter.
Freedom, Cayman Brac. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Looking to transform your space? From custom homes to commercial spaces, we bring your vision to life with precision, quality, and elegance. At Mike's Builders, we make it happen.
Mike's Builders turned my dream home into a reality. Their team is professional, efficient, and truly the best in the business. Good communication? Check. Cleanliness? Check. Professionalism? On point. You have to try Mike's Builders for yourself.
Call us today at 923-0706. That's 923-0706. Mike's Builders. Let's build a beautiful world together.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. We're on the last leg of the show. Before I go to our last caller, I just want to say that my viewpoint, this is my viewpoint, that the only time that Caymanians had any meaningful say, the everyday Caymanian had any meaningful say in how our how our immigration laws were to be crafted or what they should take into account was in 1997, when there was a committee of the whole House that was established to look at immigration issues at that point in time. 1997. That is what, 28 years ago, I believe? 28 years ago. Let's go. I'm made to understand we have 2 callers and 8 minutes, so let's take the first caller. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Mr. Conner.
Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you?
I'm well. The topic you just spoke on was actually one of the things I was calling about. Many during this election cycle keep referring back to the Cayman Protection Law, and like we need to go back to the Cayman Protection Law. So I just wanted to ask you, knowing that you were a person that's been there and you understand immigration, when the name was changed to the Immigration Act or whatever it's called, were there any fundamental changes, or was it more of a name change? Did we actually lose? Did the Caymanian lose, or did we just lose our name?
It was just a change. It was
protection.
It was just a change. It was just a change of name. And if we go back a little further, we actually adopted the name. We call it the Caymanian Protection Law. Bermuda had their Bermudan Protection Law, and we basically copied the name from there initially in the 1970s, early 70s.
All right, so because the name was changed from Cayman Protection to the Immigration Act, it doesn't really, we didn't change a whole lot other than perhaps when that whole road to status was changed and the numbers system and all that was put into place.
Right.
Yeah, so just simply changing it back to Cayman Protection Law doesn't necessarily mean we're going to have any more protection.
If we don't change the substance, yes.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the point I was making. And Billy, in his call to you, he almost was working out an equation to show how soon, he didn't say it like this, but it was my interpretation, how soon the Caymanian, the generational Caymanian, can become extinct. And really that's grounds for some serious thought, because if you think a nation cannot just die off, it can happen, and it has happened in one of the 3 Cayman Islands, because no one really pays attention to this anymore. But there, less than a handful now that can say they were born little Caymanians. I think it's only about 4 people left from the Bodden family that can say, I was born in Little Cayman. I am a little Caymanian. History tells us that there was a point when Little Cayman was one of the most prosperous of the 3 islands, when we had exports from Little Cayman. We had minerals that were being exported. We had coconuts and various things that were being exported from Little Cayman. But Little Cayman gradually, I'd have to say, it gradually died. And then it's now become like a haven, a sanctuary, you know? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, because we really do need to protect and keep some little section. But you can check this if you care to. I am positive that there are not more than 4 or at the maximum 6 living persons that can say, I was born on Little Cayman. I am a little Caymanian to the core.
That's interesting. Yeah, someone should do some research on that and document it. Yeah.
It is a fact. I have spoken to some of the people from that family saying, we need to hear more about this, because so a nation or a nation's people, they can be diluted enough. And even with the staggering number that they say received status, I'm sure that some of that was through marriage. I think is probably what you were getting at.
Right. And
but
descent.
It would have been a lot by marriage, but it still dilutes this product that we were calling the Caymanian person, you know? Just a fact, I guess, but it's the way it is.
Yep.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Let's grab our last caller. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
Afternoon, sir. How are you?
You won't have just fine. You won't have much time to be here. What I have to say is I'll just condense it.
Okay.
I agree with what Ms. Lawn is saying. I think Captain Theo Barton was the most famous of all or most well-known, put it that way, of all the little Caymanians, born little Caymanians. Yes, it's true that it's diluting everything now because there is not a high proportion of people who can actually say, I'm a generational Caymanian, which means your parents, grandparents, and so forth. Caymanians, not a high proportion at all. You remember a famous television show, or it was quite popular, called The Greatest Show on Earth, the great Jack Palance. Yeah. I think what we're sort of witnessing in a way, the elections and the debates, this is my opinion. I give you my opinion when I call in. A lot of people are afraid to talk. I'm very limited, and I don't know why they keep asking me to ask this, ask that. That is the sense I get of the debates on the election coming up. Like a sporting event, like a big event that's to come up, really. The issues are the same for everyone, and everyone has said what we're going to do. As your first caller said, there are lots of bills put forward by Mr. Bush, and others did too, but I think he put forward by far the most. Was any of them acted on, really, even those that were passed. And I remember when we had that ludicrous situation where we were going to charge people $500,000, and it was regulated, and in Parliament and all that, it was a regulation or bill, something, whatever you want to call it, legislation, to feed a chicken or a cat, which we have done for donkey's years in Cayman. Chicken. I mean, that was so ridiculous when the world looked on and there were so many very, very important issues that were now bringing up for this election. And that's what we sat down and did. Don't you realize how ludicrous it was? I mean, that is, if it wasn't so serious, it would be utterly laughable. That's why I say the greatest show on earth. The greatest show on earth. We've got to get really serious. We know the great issues that are around us. But as I said, and I'll say it again and again, there's only one word every one of the 19 will need. It's courage. They've got to get the courage to stand up to the powerful private sector, or we'll be back to the same thing for 4 more years again. Standing up. Courage. It's going to take that word, Winston Churchill's famous quote, courage, the first of all human qualities. It guarantees all the others. Thank you, sir. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Thank you very much, caller, as well. You do the same, and please stay safe as well. Very quickly before we go, I spoke earlier about the UK government taking over the Cayman Islands budget in 2012, 2013, and there were conditions. So, there's talk about that possibly happening again. I think what was done then, what caused the UK government, was certainly more egregious and more complicated than just not having 90 days reserve that is required. But some of the conditions that were placed on by the UK government, the Minister for the Overseas Territories, first of all, was expected to send a formal letter assenting to the Cayman Islands budget and setting out the conditions under which that budget would be agreed with the United Kingdom. There were 4 major conditions at that time, 2012, 2013, put out by the UK. First, the government had to pass what was called the FFR, Framework for Fiscal Responsibility. That had to be passed into law by the following month. The framework was an agreement signed between the Cayman Islands and the UK government last year that sets out a number of spending restrictions, management and audit requirements, as well as bidding processes for the government to follow. It's believed the conditions of the framework will be embedded into the territory's public management and finance law. And that did happen at the end of the day. Second condition, there can be no supplementary budget during the 2012-2013 budget year unless it is to fund recovery from natural disasters. So other than that, no supplementary budget. The budget that you have, that is it. And it was not immediately clear whether this requirement had been extended to other budget years. In the previous budget 2011-2012, Cayman added $49 million in additional spending just a few months before the end of the financial year on June 30th. So that's well in place. The third condition, the Cayman Islands government agreed to assist the UK's appointed economic advisor in periodic budgetary review during the fiscal year, of which there can be as many as 4. These are expected to be quarterly reviews. Whether the UK would be required to report the results of its findings to the public was unknown. Cayman Islands Governor Duncan Taylor made no comment regarding the budgetary agreement at the UK or the UK conditions on Friday. And the final condition, a budget board was to be established to be led by the Cayman Islands Deputy Governor, Franz Manderson, and to consist of an unknown number of members. The members can include certain representatives from the private sector. The board would assist the government in setting longer-term fiscal plans and policies between now and the 30th of June, 2016. It was the formation of the budget board that most concerned Mr. McLaughlin. This is the article who noted it was possible the board would continue to be in existence even if Mr. Bush's United Democratic Party government did not get elected to a second term. So they didn't want those conditions to then fall to the any other and the future government as well. I'm just sharing this with you to point out that it has happened in the past. I believe the conditions under which 2012, 2013, when that occurred, are not the same as what has occurred today. But I will do some more research on this because this is extremely important, because we need all of the politicians to be intellectually honest in terms of what they are portraying to the public. We do not need to use scare tactics in this election. And people have promised to run a clean campaign, a clean election process. Whether or not desperation is starting to set in the next 20 days or what, but we need to keep it clean. We need to keep it truthful. And if no one else is going to fact check, I certainly will be fact checking as well. With that, folks, I want to say to you, thanks for engaging me this afternoon. Thanks to Mr. Craig Marin as well, number 3 on the ballot paper, seeking to represent Georgetown West in our upcoming general elections. You, the public, if you're on our roads, please stay safe. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these 3 beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital, peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
Talk Today is also brought to you by Mike's Builders. Call 923-0706. Mike Builders. They make it happen.